Welcome to the Wrestling Replay. I'm Kato, and first and foremost, I hope everyone had a really good Thanksgiving. If you did the Friendsgiving thing, I hope you enjoyed the time with your friends, your family, all your loved ones. I know COVID has made it really difficult for everyone to see, each other like they normally would. So I hope that during these times and these holidays, you was able to enjoy yourself, man. Last week, there was no AEW Dynamite and there was no SmackDown, of course, because I was out enjoying my holiday. But I did get your DMs and I did get your comments, so I definitely seen that. So I'm back to you live with the Monday Night Raw replay. Now, we are introducing a new segment into the Wrestling Replay channel, which will be Let's Talk About It. The Let's Talk About It segment will probably be myself most weeks, maybe NYG, maybe Max Whitman, they'll join me. I may have some other special guests on Skype or something like that, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But the Let's Talk About It segment is pretty much a segment where we're going to take anything that happened in that week of wrestling and prior to. Anything in the world of wrestling that happened. Rumors, news, matches, indies, anything that happened, we're going to talk about. Not everything, but anything that we want to talk about, we're going to talk about. So if you have certain things you want us to speak on or touch on, all you have to do is just leave us a comment or hit a DM and, let us know to kind of bring some attention to a certain situation that you may want to hear us talk about. All right. But let's go ahead and jump into this Monday Night Raw replay. We had a really good segment. It was a lot of good advancement in this Monday Night Raw, I feel like. So things really, picked up and moved along really well because they pretty much told you a story. They pretty much told you how they're getting from one point to another point. And that's one of the things I like about wrestling, that they don't really do as much anymore. They kind of just throw stuff at us. Monday Night Raw, we had Randy Orton kicking it off with The Fiend. Him and Alexa Bliss was on a moment of bliss, where Randy pretty much, he finally figured out the weakness to get to The Fiend. Now, if we remember correctly, back when Randy Orton was first feuding with Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family, he found himself a weakness. That was Sister Abigail. He made himself pretty much join the Wyatt family just so he can get onto that Wyatt compound. And we all know what he did with the Wyatt compound. Pretty much this story is kind of just rolling over years later, which is pretty awesome. I like that you're able to come back to a storyline that was already good before and be able to bring it back and it's still fresh and still good, I like that they was able to do that. But tonight he found the weakness with The Fiend, and that would be Alexa Bliss. We've seen Randy Orton already RKO Beth Phoenix early in the year. Imagine what he'll do to Alexa Bliss for The Fiend, costing him his WWE Championship. Not only that, he needs a way to beat this guy out, this man. I don't know what you want to call him, this phenom. He needs a way to beat him. How else can he do it? You know what I'm saying? How else can he take out The Fiend? It's not going to be a typical one-on-one match. I don't think Randy Orton is equipped to handle The Fiend in a one-on-one match. You know what I'm saying? So he needs something in his corner. He needs something in his back pocket to be able to pretty much get that done. And I think he found that. So we're going to see how they advance forward with him finding that weakness. We got TLC right around the corner. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with that. Now, for the first match of the night, we went back to a Jeff Hardy and Elias feud that's still going on. That's been going on for months now. I'm pretty much done with this feud. Sometimes certain feuds run their course. The excitement's just gone, and this is one of those feuds. Like, I'm done. I don't need to see any much more from this feud. I'm not going to get any more or less excited about it. Oh, sorry. So yeah, to me it's pretty much over. But I will say this match was really good. This was the type of match I would have liked to see instead of that guitar on a pole match. This was the match I think that they should have came out with initially, because these two tore the house down. Not only that, you seen Jeff Hardy doing what Jeff Hardy does. He took a crazy Swanton bomb bump. Well, not bump. He did the bumping. he did a crazy Swanton dive from the top rope to the outside of the ring, through the table onto Elias. Now, that's not really the issue. The issue mainly being how close them steel steps were, as I'm sure you probably see right now floating around the internet, on YouTube, on Instagram. He was close. Luckily, he managed to miss those steps by about inches, man. Furthermore, I'm pretty much done with it. I would like to see Jeff Hardy either in a tag team or in a one-on-one feud, helping to bring up a younger superstar. With Elias, I would like to see him focus more on a singles championship. Elias can entertain us in multiple ways inside the ring, announcing music. Like, he can entertain us in so many ways that he doesn't actually have to be in the wrestling ring. So you don't have to keep forcing this feud onto us because it's over. It's like it's done already. You know what I mean? Like, it's dead. It's kind of like the Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins feud that they would not let die. Thankfully, it appears to be over, but now with Buddy Murphy being, I guess Buddy Mysterio, I don't know, new member of the family, that's probably going to keep going. But this feud need to go ahead and stop. Let's go ahead and get to another point. Let's jump on to helping these younger stars develop and build. I think Jeff Hardy would be the perfect person to do that. I think Elias would be a perfect tag team partner for someone, a heel coming up. And he could do a lot of the talking, seeing as though he's really good on the microphone. So if you got a heel that can't really talk or not really comfortable on the mic, there you go. You got Elias. He could solve that issue for you guys. Now, on to this Ricochet and Slapjack match. Now, Slapjack did win the match, and he has an awesome finishing move. I'm a huge fan of that finisher move. He wasn't bad in the ring. The match was okay. It did what it was supposed to do. Now, my issue being, Ricochet is going to fight everyone in Retribution. Clearly, he's going to lose to everyone in Retribution. Now, you started from the top down. Normally, you go from the bottom up, but you start from the top down. I guess you feel like if you're going to lose, you would lose to their best guy, their leader, lose to the second in command, then the third, and the fourth. Now, after he loses to everyone, is this supposed to make him join Retribution, saying that he's not good enough and can't get it done, that he needs help? Let's say he joined Retribution. Now what? Now what are we going to do with this group who you have some really good in-ring talented guys in the group, in woman, I guess, in the group? What are you going to do with them besides just having them, pop up here and there and lose matches that really matter? If Ricochet is inside of Retribution, how does this enhance Ricochet's career? That's the only question I want to really get down to the bottom of, because if T-Bar and Mace is not going to be your dominant big man tag team of the Raw roster right now, what are we doing? Is Ricochet going to go with Ali and they're going to be the tag team? What is this group goal besides making everyone pay? And who have they really made pay exactly? Besides the people that Ali was actually cool with, that he was friends with prior to joining Retribution. They the ones that seem to be taking, the brunt of this whole Retribution deal. So I just want to know, if Ricochet does join, what will it do? Now, I'm ready to jump around a little bit because that just brought me to the point of Cedric Alexander. Now, Cedric Alexander, he fought Xavier Woods in the singles match tonight. Now, Cedric Alexander is one of the most talented guys who just don't get enough shine. So I'm happy that since joining the Hurt Business, you see him a lot more and more on TV in matches that matter with people who matter. So in the tag team matches with the New Day, you got to see him really put his talents and in-ring ability on display. On the one-on-one match, the same situation. You had two guys who are really good singles competitors anyway, in Xavier Woods and Cedric Alexander. But now they got to finally put their talents on display. Now Cedric actually got the win. He picked up the win by himself. No real help from the Hurt Business. After the match, it was interesting. After the match, normally the Hurt Business all get in the ring. They hold up their hands together. After the match, Cedric kind of rolled out. And he just kind of celebrated by himself going up the ramp. Now, could this be a situation where Cedric has finally outgrown the Hurt Business? Could he have finally outgrown what the Hurt Business can offer him? Did he get what he needed and now he's going to get out? That would be smart, because technically, he could say Shelton Benjamin is holding them back. They could have won the tag team titles last week if it wasn't for Benjamin getting pinned. So he could have a legit reason of wanting to be out of the Hurt Business right now. But I like what he did. When he joined the Hurt Business, what that did was, it put him in the spotlight. I like what MVP was able to do with this group because it really just brought a spotlight to guys who were either being used wrong or weren't being used at all. I don't know where Benjamin was prior to a match here and there. That's what he was really doing. But in the Hurt Business, he's in championship matches. He's on Monday Night Raw every week. The same thing with Cedric Alexander. He was just running around the back with pretty much his friends. Pretty much with just Ricochet and Ali and Apollo Crews. He was just hanging around with those guys. But now in the Hurt Business, he has a role. He's looked at as someone that you're gonna want to see next week, that you're expecting to see next week, better yet. So I definitely like what he was able to do with himself and what the Hurt Business was able to provide for him. Now I would just like to see Alexander kind of just spread his wings a little bit, go out on his own. That brings me to another point. In the back, we seen a segment where Matt Riddle was talking to MVP, then Matt Riddle ended up in the Hurt Lock, right? I've been echoing this and saying this for the past, 2, 3, 4, or 5 weeks now. I would like to see someone like Keith Lee or Riddle actually go after Bobby Lashley and take that United States belt off of Lashley, because I believe Lashley should be going for the world title anyway. I believe that's the tier that Lashley should be at, especially, at this point in his career and how dominant he is. I would like to see more of a worker having that United States title. I would like to see someone like Riddle who's on TV every week, who you want to see every week as well, and let him defend that title against other workers, guys like Angel Garza, guys like Cedric Alexander, guys like Keith Lee. Those will make for awesome matches, and these are guys that you constantly see week in and week out. So hopefully, with Riddle losing his triple threat match later on in the night that I'm ready to get to, maybe that leads to him and Bobby Lashley possibly going at it for the United States title. I think that would be an awesome match. And I think that would be really good benefit for Riddle's career, because if you do want to boost him up, if you do ever want to take him to that world title reign, right now is just not the time. That world title picture is too full of top guys. So you got AJ Styles, you got Drew McIntyre, you got Randy Orton, you got The Fiend, you got Jeff Hardy if you want to push him back into that tier. You got Bobby Lashley if you want to push him back into that tier. So you still got Braun Strowman, who's hurt right now. Well, he's hurt. He's out right now. So it's a lot of guys that can actually be inside that picture for that title reign. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into that triple threat match that we had tonight. It was Keith Lee, AJ Styles, and Riddle. They all advanced by winning their singles matches the week prior. So they had a triple threat to see who the number one contender was going to be. AJ Styles came out on top of that match, which he should have came out on top of that match, for the fact that you didn't bring him here, make him undefeated, give him a new bodyguard. So AJ was definitely the right guy to grab that title shot. And honestly, I could see it going either way with Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles. I don't like to see quick turnarounds, and this one would really make not much sense, besides the fact that if you want to give AJ a run, he's a little older. He's not old by any means, but he's getting up there in age, and I don't know when his next chance will ever be. And if he doesn't get this world title shot, what would you really do with AJ Styles? You got the look, you got everything you need to make him a champion. You have, the bodyguard. He's undefeated technically on Raw. So if you're not going to do it now, then you're probably not going to do it at all. So if they did put the strap on AJ Styles, I wouldn't mind it. But at the same time, it really wouldn't matter to me much, because of how quick the turnaround will actually be. Now, remember, you still have The Miz lurking around. So even if AJ does win the title, The Miz could come right in and scoop it and take it away as well. That could be 2 changes in one night. That's not far-fetched. That can happen as well. The Miz could come in and scoop the title from Drew McIntyre. There had to be something going on with Sheamus and Drew for them to be teaming up tonight. It has to be something for Sheamus and Drew to be talking week in and week out and trying to reminisce on the old days. Now, I told you already that Monday Night Raw doesn't have, well, the tag team division, period. They don't have a dominant tag team. Tag teaming someone like Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, that would definitely probably be the top tier tag team on the map. Not as far as a in-ring and tag team ability together, but from star power, star quality, that would be a top tag team. They're both big guys, 6'6", 6'7", something like that. Both guys, right? You don't have AOP here anymore. The Viking Raiders aren't together right now. So these will actually be your biggest tag team. They tried to make it work in the past with Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, but those guys couldn't stay healthy. One would be injured, then one would have to wrestle. The other would be hurt, then the other would be gone. So it never really panned out. But if you have someone like Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, who already have history together, I think that tag team pairing would actually make work. But the only way for it to work is to actually take the belt off of Drew McIntyre. Our tag team division on both sides, SmackDown and Raw, is both suffering. I believe they need to just dissolve, one of those titles and just make it one tag team title that can jump from brand to brand to brand, just like the women's tag team titles should be able to jump from brand to brand. They also need to incorporate either some of these women into the tag team division from NXT, and I wouldn't mind seeing some tag teams from NXT actually challenge if they dissolve the SmackDown title and just make it one big title, or dissolve the Raw title and make it one big tag team title. I wouldn't mind that as well, but NXT does have their own tag team title, so I can understand not doing that. Now, back to Raw. That just took me off for a second, but back to Raw. Let's go back to where we left off earlier, with Lana and Asuka going against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Now, I've been seeing a lot of comments tonight about Nia Jax and Shayna losing again to Lana and Asuka. Now, people were more so upset about Lana pinning Baszler. Like, why couldn't Nia Jax take the fall? Now, this is where you kind of separate what type of fans you got. When people don't understand why Shayna took the fall, is because it was set up prior to that way. All right. Now, even in the segment before, where she pretty much told Nia Jax, "Look, we lost last week, but I was doing my part. I was taking care of Asuka." All right. Now, that's a key part, that she was doing her part last week and she was taking care of Asuka. So she technically, it wasn't her fault that they lost the match. This week, Shayna Baszler pretty much had the match won. She has Lana almost ready to go to sleep. Nia Jax was supposed to take care of Asuka. Now, Asuka was able to shake away from Nia Jax and hit Shayna in the head with a running knee. Shining Wizard. And Lana ended up getting the pin because that Shining Wizard knocked Shayna Baszler out. Lana got the pin on Shayna Baszler. Why on Shayna Baszler? Now, with Shayna blaming Nia Jax earlier, talking about how it was her fault pretty much last week that they lost. This week with her getting pinned, it's technically still Nia Jax's fault. So right now we're getting tension built inside these tag team champions who weren't friends to begin with. It was kind of two people who had a common enemy. They're both dominant women. So when you put these two dominant women together and their common goal is just going out there and destroying people, then yes, they're going to work. But they aren't friends. They aren't a true tag team. So any little tension in that group can pretty much break this tag team up, and that's what's going to have to happen in order for them to drop these belts to a typical tag team, like not someone like Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. They won't be able to take the belts off of Baszler and Jax, not unless they have some tension and turmoil inside, or unless they had help. So right now we're building that tension and that turmoil. So with Shayna Baszler losing next week, I wouldn't be surprised to see another segment where Baszler and Jax are arguing, and Jax is saying, "Well, you got pinned last week. That was your fault. You lost the match for us." And Baszler coming back and saying, "No, you lost the match for us once again because you couldn't do your part and take care of Asuka." That's actually starting to point out Jax as the weak link of the tag team. It's not pointing out Baszler as the weak link because she was pinned, but because Jax was supposed to do her part and just hold off Asuka for maybe a couple more seconds, and they would have won that match. Now, I don't know what they're doing with Lana, to be honest. I really don't know. I was suspecting that a a super face would be coming in to save her. I didn't expect it to be Asuka, seeing as though that she is the Raw Women's Champion. Now, I do like the fact that Asuka and Baszler are kind of, locked into a little mini feud, I guess, because she's helping Lana. Because what that do is allow Baszler, once these titles are done, to just roll right over and then challenge Asuka for that World Women's title, that Raw Women's title. Only problem with this I see is that how doesn't Baszler just run through Asuka? If you remember just a short while ago, wasn't that long ago, where she was in the Elimination Chamber and she took out 5 women, the last one being Asuka, in 15 minutes, maybe? Under 15 minutes? She just wiped the floor with all the women just so she can get to Becky Lynch. That Shayna Baszler hasn't gone anywhere. That's still the same Shayna Baszler. So how does Asuka beat that Shayna Baszler by herself? I don't see that happening either. So once these guys drop the tag team title, I definitely see Baszler going after that Raw Women's Championship, and she will be the one to probably carry that championship until Becky Lynch make a return. If she does make a return, I'm not sure, how having a baby and, becoming a mother will affect Becky Lynch if she want to just, take more time off or decide to stay home, because, that could be an option as well. But nonetheless, there's going to be some tension between those tag champs, and that's the way that you're going to get the belts off. If you're not going to build the mega team like a mix of Bayley, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, even Gonzalez from NXT, if you're not going to build a mix between, those type of women, I don't see how any team would just straight up be able to beat Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler if those two are on the same page. Now, we also had, what else we had tonight? We had one more. Oh, Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke, she fought Reckoning 101. As you remember, Reckoning was the one who attacked Dana Brooke outside of the trainer's office when she was waiting to check on Mandy Rose, which actually caused those two to be taken out of the Survivor Series matchup for the women's team for Raw. Now, but tonight, Dana Brooke, she came prepared, man. She came out during the Ricochet match and slapped Mustafa Ali across the face, pretty much sending a message to Reckoning, letting them know, hey, put her on notice that I'm coming for her. So I like that. I like that side of Dana Brooke, and she actually went on that match and won that match by herself. She won that one-on-one match. Hopefully this gives Dana Brooke some type of momentum going forward, because that Raw Women's division with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax locked into a tag team, it looks pretty weak. I haven't seen a lot of female wrestlers at all, especially tonight. I didn't see many of them at all. No Lacey Evans, no Peyton Royce. So I'm not even sure what's going on with the Raw Women's title picture, as the singles aspect of it, because your champions pretty much locked into a feud with the tag team champions. But we'll have to see how they're going to do and how they're going to handle that, because TLC, I pretty much see Lana and Asuka getting a tag team title shot. I hope they do not take those belts off of Baszler and Jax, but I am waiting for a tag team to do that, but I just don't want it to be those two. All right. Now, that pretty much does it for the Raw replay this week. Let me see. I'm making sure I don't have anything else on my notes. Yeah, I think that about does it for the Raw replay this week. We will be starting the Let's Talk About It segment. It'll be more like this. We'll be on camera, live. I'm getting the Cato Corner studio all set up right now. I got some really cool artwork coming in. I got some really cool merch. If you are a podcaster, if you are a wrestler, indie wrestler on the independent circuit, and you have merch, man, hey, hit me in the DM. Let me know, because I try to support as much as I can, especially right now with these times of COVID going on. I know a lot of independent circuits were shut down. You're just slowly starting to get back in the mix, but I know just buying some merch can help. So definitely, sorry, man, I don't know what just happened. Definitely hit me up. But yeah, definitely hit me up. I'll definitely support as much as I can. I've already bought plenty of merch from people. I'm definitely going to start wearing it on my Let's Talk About It segment, so I can do my part and help get your merch out there as much as possible as well. Let's face it, like we're it's a lot of fans, but we're really a small community when you really think about it. So I think we need to just, kind of help out and look out for each other, going forward. But let me know what you guys think about this episode of Raw. What do you think about the tag team champions, Nia Jax and Baszler? Do you think they're going to end up dropping the titles pretty soon? Do you think Baszler's going to have a singles run coming up? Do you think Nia Jax is going to possibly join the family with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso? That could be interesting. Let me know what you think about Randy Orton and how he'll handle finding a weakness with the Fiend. And let me know what you think about Cedric Alexander and the Hurt Business. Do you think he has outgrown the Hurt Business? Do you think he out-hurt business the Hurt Business? Do you think he used them to get to what he needed and what he wanted, and now he's going to go out his way, do his own thing? So you can hit us up in the comment section below. You can hit us up in the DM. We'll answer back either or. All right? And if you haven't already, please go ahead and mash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that you're notified anytime and every time that we drop a video onto the channel. All right. I'm Kato. Nice to be back, in front of everybody. I think I'll do this a lot more versus just the voiceover and the pictures. I think I'll, do a little bit more face to face. Well, you see my face. I don't see your face. But nonetheless, signing out, man. Peace.